My husband came home early and found me in bed with another man. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just stared at me like a stranger, turned around, and walked out of my life forever. My name is Rachel, and I am 32 years old, a woman who once believed she had everything figured out, a life built on trust, routine, and the comfort of familiarity. I had been married to Cooper for just under 9 years. We lived in a quiet, leafy suburban neighborhood in upstate New York, the kind of place where the streets are clean, lawns are trimmed, and everyone knows everyone else's dog. Cooper worked in IT, mostly from home, except on certain days when he had to visit the city for meetings. We were the kind of couple people described as steady. Nothing glamorous, but stable, predictable, and to everyone on the outside, picture perfect. In the early days, that stability felt like safety. We'd wake up together, share morning coffee, exchange the same familiar smiles. We talked about starting a family soon. Life wasn't passionate anymore, but it was peaceful, and for a long time, I thought that was enough. We grew into each other's habits, became each other's home. But somewhere along the way, that comfort started to feel like emptiness, like silence that grew a little too loud. I didn't know I was lonely until someone new made me feel seen again. Max moved into the neighborhood a few months before everything fell apart. He lived just 2 houses down. Tall, ruggedly handsome, the kind of man who turned heads without saying a word. He rode a black motorcycle, had that effortless charm that clung to him like a scent, and he knew it. The first time he spoke to me, I was walking our dog. He asked about Cooper, said he'd seen us together, then casually asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. I laughed, awkwardly brushed it off, and told him I was married. He just smiled and said, "Right." Thought I'd ask anyway. It was innocent then. Or so I told myself. I even told Cooper about it like it was a silly story. We laughed. But Max kept showing up, jogging shirtless past our house, waiting outside the grocery store, making eye contact that lasted a second too long. And I started to feel it, that tug, that little spark I hadn't felt in years. I didn't dress up for Cooper anymore, didn't think twice about faded pajamas or bare faces. But with Max, I noticed the way I brushed my hair before taking out the trash. I began to wonder if someone could still want me that way, the way Cooper used to. It didn't happen overnight. The boundaries didn't disappear in one swift motion. It started with thoughts. Then a message from an unknown number one morning after Cooper left early for work. Still thinking about that coffee. I should have deleted it. I should have blocked him. But instead, I typed one word. Maybe. That word unraveled everything. Because once you open that door, even a crack, it's almost impossible to shut it again. We started talking, then texting, then laughing over jokes only we shared. I didn't tell anyone. Not my friends. Not my husband. Because deep down, I knew it was wrong. But knowing that didn't stop me. The heart doesn't always ask permission before it wanders. Sometimes it just moves, and you pretend you're not following. A week later, I invited him over. Cooper had told me he'd be home late. I wore a dress I hadn't touched in months. One Cooper once said made me look like the woman he fell in love with. But that day, I didn't wear it for him. I wore it for Max. I don't know what I was hoping for. Maybe just to feel beautiful. Maybe to feel wanted. Maybe to feel anything other than invisible. Max came over that afternoon. We sat on the couch. Talked about weather. About the neighborhood. Nothing important. But the air between us was heavy. A slow-building pressure I could feel in my chest. And then he leaned in. And I let him. There was no hesitation. No excuses. Just a choice. And I made it. I don't remember everything that followed. Just the warmth of skin, the shallow breaths, the temporary escape. I forgot my life outside that room. Forgot the man who loved me. Forgot the years we spent building a life together. In that moment, I wasn't a wife. I was a woman who wanted to be wanted. And that's what I chose. But moments like that don't last forever. Around 3 p.m., I glanced at the clock. Cooper wasn't supposed to be home until 6. But then I heard the keys. The door. The shuffle of familiar shoes. the sound of his work badge clinking against his belt. And I froze. Max asked, "Is that?" But I couldn't speak. My heart was a thunderstorm. My body refused to move. I grabbed my clothes, whispered for Max to be quiet, to stay still. But it was already too late. Cooper had a key. He always did. He called my name from the kitchen. "Rachel." His voice was light, casual, like he'd forgotten something. I could hear his steps coming down the hall. Slower now, like something fell off. The bedroom door was half open. He pushed it, and time stopped. There we were, me barely dressed.
Max half naked.
The air thick with something you can't take back. Cooper just stood there. His eyes moved from me to Max, back to me. His face didn't twist in anger. His voice didn't rise. He just said quietly, "Who the hell is this?" I tried to speak, but no words came. Only a whimper. "I'm so sorry." He looked at me like I was a stranger, like he was trying to remember who I was. And that hurt more than anything. He didn't yell, didn't throw anything, didn't lash out. He just looked at me, the woman he'd built a life with, and realized she was gone. "We have a life," he said. "We had a life. I loved you. I gave you everything. Everything." I reached for him, but he stepped back, raised a hand. "Don't." Max tried to say something, but Cooper didn't even look at him. "Get the hell out of my house."
Max left. Fast.
And I stood there, shaking, barely able to breathe. "We can talk about this. Please." But Cooper just shook his head. "You don't trip and fall into someone's bed, Rachel. This wasn't a mistake. This was a series of choices. You let him in. You let him touch you. Don't call this a mistake." He walked out. Just like that. Didn't look back. Didn't slam the door. Just walked out. And he never came back. The days that followed were silent. My texts went unread. My calls went straight to voicemail. A week later, I got papers from a lawyer. No drama. No demands, just an end.
Clean.
Cold. Final. Our friends drifted away. Most were mutual. My family didn't say much, but the look in their eyes was enough. Max moved away 2 weeks later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't leave a note. Just vanished. And I was alone. Completely. Fully. Alone. I gave up everything for one afternoon, for a feeling that lasted only moments. I traded a future for a fantasy. I betrayed the only man who ever truly loved me. And I'd do anything to undo it. Anything. But that's the thing about choices. You don't always get a second chance. If you were Cooper, would you have forgiven me? Or was this one of those wounds that time can never heal? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more stories that make you think, feel, and remember the power of every choice you make.